So, hi, I'm Erin Taylor, also known as the Dish Diva, and I'm happy you guys have joined us tonight for our very first Coach's Corner. And we're going to be talking about hacking the holidays. So, yes, first of all, yes, the holidays are here already. So, let's deal with that first. But, like most of us, we need a little help getting through this time of year. And that could mean emotionally, physically, mentally, and even financially. So this evening, the coaches for the Black Women's Health Imperative are here to talk about all of it. And as coaches, we are not perfect. We are on a journey as well. And we have challenges when it comes to living our healthiest life. So, the great thing about coming together like this is that we not only help one another overcome challenges, but we can also help you guys that are listening out there as well. All right, so you guys ready to get started? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yes.
ready? All right, we got to have a little bit more
Absolutely
enthusiasm than
go.
that.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Go.
All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have each one of you introduce yourselves. So just let us know your name, where you're from, and then how long you've been a lifestyle coach with Black Women's Health Imperative. And I will go ahead and have Kisa start off because we'll just go around the room.
Okay, I'll start. I am Kisa Daniels, and I've been a lifestyle coach with Black Women's Health Imperative for about 2 years now. I'm coming to you. I'm logged in from the beautiful Conyers, Georgia, which is just outside of Atlanta.
All right. All right. And Laurel, looks like you're up next.
Okay. I'm Laurel from Los Angeles, California, and I have been a lifestyle coach. I know for at least 5 years and maybe a little bit longer.
Great. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
All right, Tysana, you're up.
Hello, I'm Tysana Jones. I am coming from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm already bundled up. It got cold yesterday. It decided to just get cold. So I'm still adjusting. I have been a lifestyle coach just since September. So I am brand new in the game and my group is rolling and this is really exciting. So thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. Happy to have you as a coach too.
Hmm.
All right, Randy, you're up.
My name is Randy Washington. I'm from Natchitoches, Louisiana. I have been a coach for about 6 years, I believe, something like that. I can't keep up. Time flies when you're having fun. Um,
Mm.
Nonetheless, yeah, that's me.
Okay, well, welcome. And last but certainly not least, Neambi.
Hey, 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 I'm Neambi Sims. I am hailing from Los Angeles, California, and I've been a lifestyle coach 10 plus years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's just dive right into this. Okay. Coming up with the holidays, it's always just, very stressful time of year. But it's also a very joyful time, right? Um,
Mhm.
and so my first question for you guys is like, what is the one thing you can't live without during the holidays? And this could be anything. It could be the families, your cozy pajamas, the downtime you get, grandma's sweet potato pie. So Niambi, let me ask you first. Like, is there one thing that you just can't live without during the holidays?
I would have to say a playlist, my music. There's usually some songs that set the
Yeah.
holiday
Mhm.
container and that make it festive, and that we tweak it a little bit, but I those songs kind of create the environment and carry me through. So I usually create a playlist, a couple of them.
Okay, I love that. I absolutely love that. All right. Well, Kisa, I'm going to ask everybody. So, Kisa, do you have one thing that you can't live without?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to piggyback off of Niambi. It's music. I'm married into a really musical family, and so we usually start the Christmas caroling just before Thanksgiving. And my husband is a professional musician as well as a couple of my sons, so it's music for us.
Okay. I love music. I love that. I didn't even think about music. That's perfect because you got to hear this Christmas, right? Or one of those tunes that is a classic. So I love that. All right, Laurel, do you have one thing you can't live without?
I guess it's Christmas with family at my home.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's every year, and it's just nice to have everybody together and the
Hmm.
house is decorated.
Yeah. Okay. And it's at your home though, right? Not
It's
there.
at my home, and my sister and I do the cooking.
All right. I love that. All right, Tiziana, what is your one thing you can't live
My
without?
one thing would be my onesies. My I definitely get a new onesie every year, but it's become a thing. And again, I'm cold all the time here. So I have my onesies and I have to eat. My favorite song is Chuck Brown, Go Go. The Go Go Chuck Brown This Christmas is like my favorite tried and true Christmas song. So
All
when I hear
right.
that, it's on.
I can appreciate those onesies. I lived in Pittsburgh too for a while, so I can appreciate those onesies on a cold day. Don't need them now, but that's okay. Randy, what is your one thing?
I of course I have to agree with a lot of what everyone has already said, but I'm going to mention the food part. I'm going to have me some cornbread dressing. I'm going to limit it, but I'm going to have some. I cannot pass that part up.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm glad we ended on that one because I think that's where most people go to, right? Is the food part. And thinking about, I mean, when the holidays come, I got to get some of my mama's mac and cheese. I got to have some of my aunt's, sweet potato pie or peach cobbler. So, I mean, those are things though that make us feel like the holidays are here, right? So all of those things you guys mentioned makes us feel like that it's the holiday time. And so I love that. And I'm glad you guys shared. So thank you for that. So we'll get into the food stuff a little bit more for sure, because I think that's going to be a huge topic for us. So what do you do to set yourself up for success during the holidays? So Tiziana, let me ask you that. I'm interested to see what you're doing to set yourself up for success. Like what are you doing with all this food that's coming into the house or
Yeah, it's the food and it's the people because family is like how you describe and decide what family is. And in the last 2 years, I've lost my father, and that's just like changed the dynamics. And I'm realizing that folks haven't gotten over my grandmother's passing, and that was almost 10, 15 years ago. So trying to like set up these new traditions is really important for me right now, and just kind of like trying to shape what we want to do. So I'm planning some fun time. I'm planning some homework on the couch in my onesie time, and I'm planning like I'm decorating. I'm gonna start my decorating next week. And I'm going to finish a project. So I'm going to start my decorating. So I'm excited about that. So it's like I want my space to reflect like the holiday season. That's a big deal for me. And I want to be able to host if in fact people end up at my house, which I hope they do, and just trying to plan how I want to spend the time and who I want to spend that time with.
okay. Okay, I love that. And then so if people do end up at your house, what do you do
Yes.
with all that food that you're cooking?
So I make stuff and I send it home with them. So I like 2 weeks ago, I made this really pretty tart and a really amazing apple pie. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Yes. Oh, and take this with you. And you can take this with you. And so when everyone left, I had like 2 pieces of the things. They were great, but I didn't have a half a pie left. I
Mhm.
had a piece left of the tart and the piece of the pie. And so that's how I just plan on like getting things out because I'm going to make amazing food because that's what I love to do. I'm going to make great cookies because that's what I love to do. But they're going to leave the house when the people leave the house. And that's the plans. I have some little cute containers I've already bought and some little bags. They're getting out of here. I'm not going to not make them, but they got to go.
Well, I like the idea of having those containers too, because now you're just setting people up for success, right? You're setting yourself up for success too. It's in a container, take it with you, take it with you. So
Yeah.
for those of you that don't necessarily have that option or people refuse to take the food with them, then what do you do with that food? So this is a question for everybody. Like what do you do with your leftover food?
Freeze it.
Freezer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give it to
absolutely.
neighbors and coworkers.
Oh yeah. Well, because the holidays run from I mean, especially the Christmas holiday, like it's all month, right? And so
Mhm.
yeah, if you're having some parties or some gatherings or some potlucks at work, you can always take that stuff there. That is a great idea. And then somebody said freezing. Was that you, Kisa, or was that
Yeah. I think it was
And
several of
me.
us that mentioned freezer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's
then
popping over after Thanksgiving, you pull it out of the freezer, you know.
and you
Doesn't
continue
have
to
to be
share it with people instead of eating it yourself, right?
absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay. I love that. You make use of that
And,
freezer.
and remaking things like you freeze it, then you represent it as turkey pot pie, you do whatever else, just kind of keep making it into new things until it's gone.
Keeps giving. Food
Yes.
that keeps giving. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you said that because I used to make a turkey and then I would always just keep one leg and I would freeze it. And then maybe like February, I take it out of the freezer, throw it into a crock pot, some vegetables. And then I would make turkey soup. And, so it became, I like reimagining the food too. So it doesn't always have to be the same thing. And it doesn't always have to be the same kind of unhealthy thing too, right? But sharing along the way is caring too as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I love that. Well, what about if you're going to a party? How do you set yourself up? Like, how do you make sure that before you go to this party or gathering, you're not indulging on everything in sight? And I think I'm going to ask you that question, Laurel.
Okay. Well, depending on whose home we're going to, especially like at Thanksgiving, we know what they're going to have, and we know the type of food they're going to have.
Mhm.
So usually we'll eat a little before we go, and when we get there, they'll have the food take table, and just eat a little bit of that, and then at my cousin's house, they tend not to have a lot of food though. Just if you're not there, you may miss out sometimes. So, but I pick the things that I um, want to eat that's healthy. I don't do the mac and cheese. I don't do the yams like most people, or what are the other things? But I'll do the greens and the meat, and go from there. So, but I think it's better to maybe eat a little just before you go, so you won't overeat when you get there.
That's a really good point, and I think that's something that we teach a lot in our lifestyle change class in CYL
Yeah,
Square. It was like how you prepare before you go to this function because there's going to be a lot of food there. But if you have some healthier options at home, just eat a little bit of that, and then that way you're not overindulging in the food, and you're not super like hangry by the time you get to the gathering, right? All right,
yeah,
I
and
love that.
also drink water too before you go. That will
Hmm.
help fill you up as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other ideas on how to prepare before going to a gathering? I do like the eating beforehand.
I would say sticking to your regular meal schedule. But
Mhm,
so often, what we find is during the holidays, people are going to parties, and then I'm just going to skip breakfast, I'm going to skip lunch, say if it's an evening time. And conventional wisdom from nutritionists and people like Aaron Taylor will tell you that's not a best idea. And so just kind of stick to your regularly scheduled thing. And you know what? Everything is so in society now. I mean, the holidays still, of course, carry their significance in our lives. But I had macaroni and cheese today, like half a portion from this weekend today. And so it's not like we're waiting until this time of year to have some of those favorite dishes. So there's really no reason just to go hog wild. So that's kind of the beauty of having access, so to speak, to foods throughout the years that, if you really think about it, there's no reason you can get some more like time that you want to. It may not be your grandmother's or your mother's, but you can get a good mac and cheese pretty much any day of the week, any time of the year. So.
yeah. Well, and as you were saying that, one thing that came to mind for me was like even that mindfulness, like just making sure that we're practicing that, before we get to the gathering too. Is like, yeah, you want your mama's mac and cheese, but do you have to eat a whole bowl of it? You know what I mean? Like you can still mindfully eat it, just take it into your mouth, enjoy it. Like don't scarf it down, but slowly chew it and enjoy all of the feelings you're getting from it because it's not just like the taste. and the taste buds, but you're getting that emotional, that nostalgic feeling. And so
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy that and sit with that for a little bit instead of just kind of like scarfing down and like, oh, I enjoyed it, but now you're full, you're bloated, you can't eat, your pants aren't fitting, you got to unbuckle. I mean, it's just all those things that end up happening at the
And you
end.
gotta take a nap after you eat.
Yes, I mean, yeah. So we just really want to, if you just kind of take that mindfulness into consideration, that helps as well.
Yeah, that's key, mindfulness.
And knowing why you're eating it and why you're feeling it, acknowledging that. Because the
Mhm.
holidays are going to bring up the nostalgia, the memories, the people that might not be there.
Mhm.
So name it. So you're just not like, I don't know why I'm eating this mac and cheese and crying, or cussing, or fussing, or wanting to drink. Whatever happens in some people's houses. I like it. I like calm homes. I'm happy to have a calm home, but some people don't have calm homes, and some of that is just that undealt with grief that we just refuse to truly acknowledge. So let's not take our grief out on the cookies and the cakes, the mac and cheese.
Or it could be like you said, the grief, or it could be like how I think many of us have a family member who may overindulge in some beverages, and before you know it, the aunties and the uncles having a little too much fun and all the food because you done drunk so much. So now you need to compensate and soak some of the alcohol up. So now you eating up all of the carbs to kind of help, so then we have all that happening.
Mhm. Yeah,
Cycle.
right. Well, Sandy, you brought up a good point too about, when you're there and when you're with other people and you like the calm house, but sometimes that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you're in a house where you might have some conflicts with some other family members. There might be some, tension that arises. So, like, how do you keep yourself? I'm trying to figure out the word I'm looking for. How do you take care of yourself during that time when there's that potential for something to go awry? So any
Mm.
thoughts on that? Laurel, I think I'm interested to hear what you have to say because you have the parties at your house and you have, maybe a calm environment like Tysana. Like, how do you keep your patience while, there's all this other stuff that could be potentially going awry?
Well, I mean, that has happened. Um, we had a situation when um, with two people, and but it's for us to keep our cool heads and to mediate and to separate and tone down the anger. This happened years ago, but now I'm able to. If things seem to get heated, I can just talk in a very calm voice
Mhm.
and tell them take a deep breath, move on, and and things seems to move a lot better, because I'm not used to having a lot of craziness, but it happened one time.
Mhm.
So just separate and be calm.
I you know, thanks for that, Laurel. I set intentions for family gatherings, particularly when I go home. I'm from Texas,
Mhm.
and um, we have some characters in our family, and I love every one of those characters. I'm one of them myself, right? And so I do, before I even get on the plane, a lot of times I will set an intention. I will baptize whatever we're going, because a lot of times we're going home for a celebration. So I baptize that event in love, in unity, in healing, reconciliation, whatever I think the different characters that are coming together, whatever is needed. And so I do think that just, takes some just thinking about it, slowing down. You brought up mindfulness, Erin. And so mindfulness works in all kinds of ways. So being mindful about how we want to enjoy ourselves. And, a lot of times it's easy to kind of devolve, for a situation to devolve. But I think that if we're kind of conscious about what are the possibilities beforehand, and we pray about that, whatever you want to call it, I call it praying, then, the outcomes can be so much better.
Yeah,
And
'cause
I
you
want
know
to
your family
piggyback
more.
on that,
Oh,
Kisa. boundaries and intentions. Boundaries and intentions. Boundaries and intentions. I think having an intention also applies to the food. Like, if you know that you really want to eat that, like I don't, I feel like we should be able to eat whatever we want on the holidays. But I know I like experience. I want to sample it. I want to try it. And I know that there's certain things I want to try, and maybe not so much. Maybe I know I'm going to eat that. So let's have an idea of how much. Let's make sure I'm conscious if it's going to be 2 tablespoons so that there's a boundary around it. Um, and not limiting myself, because then it's going to be an obsession and I'm going to be looking at it and I'm going to be thinking about it, but giving myself room within a certain amount, within a certain measurement. And that goes for the people too.
Mhm.
You already know, and I already know who's going to act up. I know who's going to drink. I know who's going to say what to what, and it's going to, I know these things. So instead of expecting them to be different this time, recognizing that, okay, chances are that's going to happen. They're probably going to fight, or they're going to drink a little too much and act a fool. Okay, we know this. Let's have a plan. Whether that means, okay, we're going to stay for this amount of time, or when that starts up, we're going to bring out the board game. I don't know, but at least thinking it through as to where it could go, like Keisha said, like Coach Keisha said, if this could possibly go this way, I know this. I'm gonna pray about it, and I'm gonna have a plan in action, a couple of plans, and then the boundaries around where we're willing to go and what we're willing to talk about. Um, if someone, well, you gained a bunch of weight, look at you, or something. My uncles are good for that, telling me how much weight I gained. Having a response ready for that.
Funny.
Understanding that that's what they're gonna do, so I don't get all of my feelings and, or when you gonna get a man? Like that's not a problem anymore. But when you gonna, now it's when you gonna have a baby. Those things are gonna come up, and so if they're triggering, realize that it's gonna come up. Instead of expecting them to be different, have a nice response that can be like, and it's ready, so you don't have to think about it. So boundaries and intentions,
Love it.
my mantra.
Me too.
Love
I
that.
like that.
Boundaries and
I
intentions.
love that. Boundaries and intentions. That's gonna be our mantra for the
Yeah.
holiday. Boundaries and intentions.
Intentions.
If you know they're gonna do what they're gonna do. If you have a big
Right.
family,
Right.
like, oh, I've gained weight, you've lost hair. Look at us,
Look at us.
changing and stuff. Like whatever. Like,
I'm gonna use that. Can I use that? Can I use that?
yes, you can. Or teeth. Go hard.
Or
Like, make it happen.
Not teeth.
You
Okay.
started it. You finish it.
Be
I-
nice.
I do not
You're
blame
right. You're right.
Yeah.
You know your family. You know them. You know what's gonna happen. So really just having that plan ahead of time.
Just have fun with it. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
games. Someone brought up board games. Like I bought some for example, I went bowling 2 weeks ago. I hate bowling. So I knew I wasn't bowling, but I went because it was a fundraiser. So I brought these big old Uno cards and I was gonna have fun. So I just brought something to do. So kind of like the same thing. Like make sure you have things to do for your own personal entertainment. If you like karaoke, bring the microphone. Do things that you enjoy. Bring food that you enjoy and can eat. Like make sure that you're good. Like whatever that needs to be, like, oh, let's go take a walk, let's do something, like try to make sure that you have something that's going to bring you what you need, bring you joy and fill your cup. Because again, people going people. So you have to make sure that you're going to be okay and that your needs are taken care of in the midst of everything else.
Well, I
Mhm.
love that. And I like you mentioned the thing about joy. How can you bring joy to yourself, but how can you bring joy to the rest of the family too? And I think there's some definitely some things that can happen there, and that could even involve like creating some new traditions. And so I'm interested to hear from you, Tysana, like what kind of things would you do to help create some new traditions and bring joy to the family?
Well, this year, I just found out an hour ago that Thanksgiving is my mom and I. Okay, I like her. She likes me. It's us. So we have a craft we bought 2 years ago for Mother's Day. So we're going to do the craft. And I bought this book called like Mom, Get to Know Your Mom or something. You tell stories, and it's so cheesy and she's so annoyed with me, but I'm cracking up and I'm like, oh, Mom, we can do our book. So I'm just like trying to like create again. It's she and I. So let me spend time getting to know you in a different way, you know. So I'm gonna do it. I bought cheesy pajamas for Christmas already. The Christmas pajamas have been purchased. Like the stuff is going down. Like we're going to have fun, lady. And she's like, oh God, here you go with this corny stuff. But she's ready. And after a while, I'll leave her be and I'll go see my friends. But I'm going to annoy her for like 3 good hours, make really good food, and then leave. And we will have a new experience and keep it moving.
Nice. I love that. Anybody else have any ideas on how to bring some joy to the party or to create some new memories or that you've tried?
Well, I think music always is as soon as people walk in through your door, if you have music playing, it really softens the tone and the energy in your home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And we mentioned music before, right?
yes, yes. And then having things like if there's little kids, having something for them to do versus the big kids now, they on their phones. And then there's some who like to play Scrabble and just have them do their thing. So there's options. I used to have a trampoline. That used to be the best thing, but I got rid of it just about 2 years ago. But that was a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm. And on the topic of music, gathering to dance, or maybe teaching them a new dance, teaching them, there's a couple of cultural dances that we mostly know. We can enlist everyone, but if not, teach them a TikTok dance or teach them a new dance. And I think that can diffuse a lot of situations when they start getting a little rowdy. Oh, everybody, it's time to learn I don't know. I might even make something up. I'm able to make something up and tell them it's a dance, and we get, to kind of, and they'll do it.
I love
So
that.
movement.
Yes.
Well, and then that takes us to a physical activity, right? So, during the holidays, we tend to not be quite so physical too, because, whatever reason, we're stressed out, whatever the case may be, or you may be getting the physical activity just by shopping. But how do you stay on track with your physical activity and how do you bring that to the party? And one thing that I like what you said, Niambi, is like you're bringing that to them and it's kind of what you're doing is you're being an influencer. Right?
Yeah.
That's such a key word
Yeah.
these days. And, so how can you be that influencer? Randy, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, how can you be the influencer at your holiday gathering?
I think a lot of it is a lot of what people have already mentioned. And so I'm going to say about setting the boundaries and intentions, like with what Niambi said, and then Kisa, just about like with your expectations. Because I think that when you can set the tone for the environment, you get to influence the situation, the outcome. And it does give you the ability to probably help take control of situations a little bit. But yeah, I think that when you can set the tone, establish some boundaries, and you know what your intentions are, I think that really helps you navigate the holidays for sure. Whether it's with your family, whether it's with your personal goals, with physical activity and with what you're gonna eat. Yeah, for sure. And that said too, I don't know if it's okay for me to just go ahead and share this part, but like being the influencer for holidays too. A lot of times me and my family, what we'll do, especially my sister and I, because we usually do like the bulk of the cooking, she and I start sending each other recipes, like different things we're seeing or something, like whether it's a new dessert or something like that we want to try. And so normally we kind of, which we already kind of have done that, and we've been trying to solidify what the menu is going to be. So a part of us doing it is just sending like some of our favorite recipes from different people that we're seeing and finding. And so, yeah.
Okay. So like on social media, finding those influencers who are doing some.
Like one of my favorite people is Kimmy Creations. Kimmy, she'll tell you how to cook soul food, but then I saved this vegan mac and cheese, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good. So I'm not this person that's big on Well, I've never had vegan mac and cheese. So what I did was last month I went and purchased me some vegan cheese. So I've introduced myself to it a little slowly, just to kind of, I'm like, because you can't bring certain stuff to the holidays and you just trying new stuff. I am gonna have to make the regular dish for everybody else, but then I'm also gonna make this vegan dish and see what they think about that too. But I'm gonna make sure that I come prepared because I don't want to be told some choice words by certain people.
And not be invited back.
Exactly. And then I'm supposed to host it. So imagine getting kicked out your own house for the holiday.
Put out the family, put out your own kitchen.
I think sometimes having a agenda helps too. Like, with family, I like what Randy said, and also what everybody else is saying about setting your own, like you create the vibration, you create how you're going to show up, and then you bring everyone else up. You don't let them determine how you're going to show up. You determine where you're going to stay and help bring them up to that level. But I also think it might be helpful. Now, this might not apply to family. My family going to do what they want. But if you're having your friends over, or you're having family, or people where you're doing maybe a potluck kind of situation, giving them a list of who's expected to bring what, or coordinating that ahead of time, maybe a nice invitation that says, and we'll have movement opportunities after we eat, we'll play a fun game of this or do some dance, to get them prepared for what possibly will happen, so they can kind of support that. So everyone knows what they're going to bring, everyone knows what'll be available. If you're vegan, you'll know what you'll be accommodated for, or have that conversation ahead of time. And whatever movement activities, have people prepared. So maybe they have to they'll wear the appropriate clothing, or they'll be expecting at some point we're going to move, so that it's not a surprise. And maybe they'll enlist, maybe suggest for them to bring their favorite song, or send their favorite song, so we can create a playlist for them, for everyone's participation, or, get them involved ahead of time. So there'll be no surprises, and they might, help to create that. Someone might say, "Oh, I bought a dance for everyone," or "I know this, let's take that walk," or, who's ready for the walk, or.
I love that. Organize a walk after we eat, just to kind of be, it's such a beautiful time of year to go see the fall leaves, and, if the leaves are changing in your neighborhood, or just to have a walk, near the beach or water, for those of you that are in California, you know what I mean? Or with the idea of the music, I love having like an old school versus new school dance party. Let's have a dance off. I feel like that would be really entertaining and really fun, and it'll bring in the whole family, even the kids. It gives them something to do, right? Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay. Well, we talked a little bit about like the physical activity part of that. And I think some other things too is like leading up to like the Christmas holiday is, get the family involved in the decorating, getting them moving around the house, get them involved in the decorating. I don't know, just kind of the movement, and it doesn't have to be a whole workout or a walk, but like just getting that movement in. And so for those of us who are, staying on track, we all like a nice little reward, right? So what kind of things would you reward yourself? And we want to look at like non-food rewards, right? So you're staying on track. Like, what kind of things do you think you would like to see as a reward for yourself? And this is a question for all of you guys too. So if you think of something,
I'm a spa girl. So anything spa related, massage, particularly massage, or day trip to the spa and facial, all the time. So that's incentive for me.
I agree too.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to get to an acupuncturist and I need a lymphatic massage. I want to experience that too. I've already looked up the places because I got a feeling they're going to say, "Randy, what do you want for Christmas?" Just give me a gift card. It don't even have to be the full amount. I can put the rest.
Right.
There you go.
That's the goal.
Well, I'm not a big spa girl, but I do like stationery. And so one of the things that I like to do, I don't know, does anybody know what a Moleskine journal is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm real big on like paper, like the quality, like, River Tomei, it's the whole thing. But anyway, so one of the things that I like to do to reward myself outside of food is to go in. I don't really want to mention stores here, but like Marshalls or Ross, and go into their stationery journal section and just treat myself with, and a lot of times they're like $10 or less. I found a Moleskine 2025 calendar in one of those stores. I won't mention the name again, just the other day. And so that's one way. Another way, if you love candles, which it's kind of one of my things. I love candles. I have to tell myself, don't buy another candle until you burn down some of the candles you have. But I love candles, so that's another way to kind of treat yourself. To try to go find yourself a soy-based candle or something like that. That's outside of food. So there are a lot of ways to do it.
And one of the things I used to like to do too was like treat myself to um like some new workout tights or something like that. I don't know, but sometimes you feel good when you have some little cute workout clothes or something to lounge around in, especially around the holidays, because like you feel all good and cozy. So yeah,
Get yourself a new onesie, huh, Taisana?
there we go.
I'm working on not treating myself, so I don't want to participate. I'm working on purging. I'm not allowed to buy anything right now.
Yeah.
I spoil myself a bit too much over here.
I'll have a lot. Most of
Well,
us.
it doesn't have to be a physical thing either. It could be something, just some time away to read a
Time
book.
off. Yeah, time off. Like really scheduling that's what I'm really working on. As an entrepreneur, like I have control of my schedule. Let me take advantage of that. So I schedule some really serious blocks of time to not have meetings, and just clean my house or have someone else clean my house. That is that's a beautiful, wonderful treat of joy that brings me much, much happiness. So I can coordinate my finances so that I can pay for that versus shoes or something else that I really don't need. Yeah.
Well, that brings us into the self-care part of, the holidays. And I think a lot of what we've been talking about though is self-care, right? All these things that we're thinking of and these strategies and these tips. But, how do you prioritize yourself during the holiday? That's a big one because, it's such a giving holiday. You know what I mean? And so what we end up doing is giving of ourselves, and we're not like allowing ourselves to have the time to do those things that you guys are talking about. But how do you prioritize yourself during the holidays?
Scheduling and take time for
Yeah.
yourself. Now, I know I'm gonna get my hair done. I may or may not go and get a manicure. I may do it myself. But it's very important. Also, starting your day right, either meditation, affirmations, that helps get you through any challenges that you may face as well.
I was going to say, Laurel, what gets scheduled gets done.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the holidays, Erin, I would say that I would encourage everyone to take some time between now and what are we about? We're almost 2 weeks out, almost 2 weeks from tomorrow, right? From Thanksgiving. But start now too. I'm again a big planner girl, love stationery. Get some old-fashioned paper. Or you can do it in the note section of your telephone, but spend some time thinking about what will be your holiday non-negotiables. And usually that's going to be that self-care for you. What are going to be are you, it's sad to say, but drinking water has risen to the level of self-care, I think, because so often we don't do it, but it's going to make life in the holidays and outside of the holidays so much better. So think about, get a pen and paper, note section of your phone today, tomorrow, sometime next week. Don't let the holidays get here. They're here, but officially here, before you start thinking about what self-care is going to look like you, and then write it down and then plan for it. If your intention is to walk 3 of the 7 days of the week during the holidays, but you don't have tennis shoes, well, that's part of your preparation stage, right? And so you need to go ahead and get those tennis shoes between now and when you decide to start. So I agree with Laurel that planning is key. Scheduling, what gets scheduled gets done. Like my brother says, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So have that plan in place so that you can just push play on it.
I love it.
And to add on to what they said, I see a lot of people, and everyone's situation is different. But if you can like plan ahead and schedule things, like even if that's to go grocery shopping and not wait to the last minute, because I see so many people in the stores, like you can see the stress in their face because they waited to the last minute. There's no more turkeys. There's no ham. There's no greens, nothing left in the store to buy. And then there's stress. Or if you have to go gift shopping and then now the stores don't have anything, which I realize a lot of people may shop online and all those other options now. But yeah, you do see when sometimes, like, depending on your situation, it's like the day of or the day before, people are just in the stores just stressed out because they didn't plan ahead, or were unable to plan earlier. So that's unfortunate too.
Yeah.
That stress.
Randy, I love that. Anticipate stress. That is a really beautiful form of self-care, because I think a lot of us get in the habit of doing it last minute or just doing it how we can fit it. But to anticipate it and then say, this is going to stress me out, let me plan differently, is such just listening, just thinking of that is like, wow, I feel better. My shoulders came down just listening to you. I love that. I have an unorthodox thing I'm trying this year. So this year I'm going to a family member that's about a 2-hour drive away for Thanksgiving. And they have a big full house of people that are going to be there. And normally, my husband drives those type of things. He'll drive, but he's not going to be able to go this year. So I've decided to go by myself. And I was like, oh, I don't really like to drive long distances. It's not my thing anymore. What can I do to support myself? So I'm going to go up for the day, spend it with them, possibly the night. And then I booked an Airbnb for the next day. So instead of going straight back, the 2 hours back, I found a really nice little cabin somewhere that I can do my reading, I can take a bath, I can, so whatever's the outcome, whether it's stressful at Thanksgiving or not, I give myself this time, and then I get back in my car and I can drive back to LA. So I am pretty excited now. Or anytime in between, if it gets too stressful at the house, I can kind of sneak out and go there if I needed to. It's like, just in case I have a cushion, I'm not 2 hours away from home, I can go there and just decompress if it's necessary. So that's my way this year of just testing this out as a backup.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Oh my gosh.
I like a good way to not stress yourself out for that whole, like doing it all in one day and like being stressed driving and going home. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love that. Love that. Okay.
Yeah, and then that inability to like fully enjoy yourself or your family because you are like, oh, I don't want to do too much, or I need to get on the road before the sun starts to go down. And sometimes that's when the party kicking up. Like we just not getting started. The music that went up, and now I gotta go. So that is that you kind of planned ahead so that you can fully enjoy your family if you want to stay behind and stuff. So that's nice.
Yeah, be present.
Yeah,
That's what it's about, being present to me.
And if you're stressed out, you're not present.
You can't do that.
But Randy, you mentioned something too about last minute shopping and all that stuff. That just kind of brings me to like that financial health and wellness as well. So if we're doing all of this stuff at the very last minute, what's that doing to our budget? And so really just making sure you have a plan, even maybe 6 months in advance of the holidays, right? That will help you a lot better financially, because now you can start, maybe you have July 25th, because, they say that's the Christmas in July, right? In the summertime. Start having a plan for the gifts that you're going to get. You don't have to wait until it's officially holiday season to start buying gifts. So that way you're like, can spread it out over paychecks.
Right.
So for those of you that get paid once a month, I mean, that's just a one gift a month. You got 6 gifts by the time it comes to Christmas, or 12 if you get paid twice a month. So, you can really just plan that out if you give yourself some time, and then you eliminate that stress, that financial burden. Because, if you're hosting, like I know I heard a couple of you guys say that you're hosting, you're also probably buying of the bulk of the food. So what's
Mhm.
that doing to your grocery budget? So I mean, just kind of having this plan in place, and and then it maybe right after the holidays you start saving again for the holidays. So I love that idea of planning and planning because I think it helps us on so many different levels.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it because besides buying Christmas gifts, I also donate at the end of the year. And so instead of waiting towards the very end, is why don't I start every week from now on to send my donations to the people that I want to send my donations to? So you're not waiting and then scrambling. Oh, do I need to use a credit card? You don't want to use the credit card, but use the cash to make that donation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all of that comes into play, right? At that time of the year too, because was it Giving Tuesday happens in December too. So that's right before the holidays. So if you do want to donate, where's that money coming from?
Hmm.
Right.
And we'll be doing our rounds with the Black Women's Health Imperative, that's for sure, for Giving Tuesday. Just to put it out there for those of y'all that are listening, looking to give.
Yeah, looking for your matches, for your company, all the things. Absolutely.
Right.
And
Well,
then even
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, one thing something else that I thought about for, like, the piece is service. Like, so
Yeah.
often, like, I know from like, I love serving. So, like, doing something for somebody else, you talked about donations and but volunteering, like, that is something that sometimes that cuts the drama because it's like, let's go see some folks that actually need.
Yeah.
So when you get back to your house, you're actually grateful, and you don't take it for granted because you had that fresh reminder of what it could be. We are all not too far away if something goes the other direction, right? And so like maybe we need to look at how ways that we can give to others and serve or to donate, but something to be in service to someone else during the holidays, I think is huge. My favorite Christmas was I had met some little boy kid people talk to me all the time. Some boy asked me for money at the gas station. I was like, what school do you go to? And he said, I want, and he told me, and I said, okay, I have a student over there. I'm a teacher educator. And he gave me a story about who he was and what he wanted to buy the food for. And I said, well, if you just get extra vegetables, I'll give it to you. Like, I don't need you to pump my gas. But I gave him the money. And that Monday, I called the school to find out who he was. And come to find out, this child was homeless. His parents, his mom was like, the principal told me to not buy him toys because his family would steal them. And I said, "Oh, wow. Okay. What can I do for this kid? Does he need shoes, boots, whatever?" She said, he's on the list to get boots. I said, "Well, take him off the list. I got his boots." And so me being able to buy that baby's boots and me wrapping him up and taking them to him, he was just like, "It's the lady from the gas station." You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that meant so much more to me than like one of my little cousins who needs nothing else. Um, or a relative, they need nothing else, but to be able to do for someone who actually is in need meant so much more to me than any other thing I've been able to do for Christmas. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that, and that's bringing joy
mhm,
to the holiday, right, for yourself. But you could also do that as a family.
mhm,
Go volunteer and to help feed the homeless, for the holidays. I mean, that's a great way to just kind of get the whole family involved, reduce the drama, and everybody's feeling good. We're encouraging those positive vibes. So I love that. I love that. Well, we are, just about out of time. I mean, this has been a wonderful conversation. I do want to just hit on one. There was one question that came through when the viewers were registering, and it was uh, alternative sweeteners. And so, Niambi, you and I have had a conversation about this before, and I just want to kind of touch on that real quick.
Okay.
What are your favorite go-tos when it comes to alternative sweeteners?
My favorite go-tos are so there's monk fruit sweetener, there's agave, maple syrup, um, stevia. However, I also like to really keep in mind when we're doing when we do the yams, of course, we want to put a little brown sugar. That's kind of one of those things. And I've heard both people say they've tried like agave, but they need brown sugar to candy it. Um, but I would experiment with a little bit of that. But I think with the sweeter vegetables and fruit, allowing them to take center stage, for instance, like cranberry sauce, making cranberry sauce. That is controversial in many households, but making your own versus the canned, you can regulate the sugar. It doesn't have to just be, the amount of sugar that's already in there. Um, any kind of fruit-based juice, using juices. Sometimes I'll add a little orange juice to my yams as a sweetener. Um, but yeah, fruit-based juices, uh, and using the whole fruit, using like the fruit in the stews or instead of just the concentrate, using the whole fruit because you get the fiber. But my favorites, I would say, are agave and monk fruit in that they're very mild tasting. It's not an aftertaste. And then when I need some brown sugar, because some things just need it, making sure I regulate it. Like, instead of just dumping some in, really being cognizant about how much.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm a big fan of monk fruit. I definitely use that like with my coffee and my oatmeal, that sort of thing. And there's a brand that has a golden variety and it tastes very much like sugar.
Mhm.
But I will tell you that there's been a participant once told me, she was like, I'm not a big baker, but she was like, I use like a half a cup less sugar. Nobody noticed.
Mhm.
So I think experimenting with that is key too, because sometimes, because baking is such an exact science at times, you
Yeah.
have to have the right balance of the dry ingredients and the versus the wet ingredients, and like sugar becomes a wet ingredient once it bakes. I mean, there's just all these levels to it. So you can't necessarily just say, "Oh, I'm not going to use the white refined sugar. I'm going to put some agave in it." You may not get the same results. So it's about experimenting. There's a lot of people out there who have already done the experimentation. So try to find recipes using a particular uh, uh, alternative sweetener. But also, if you're using that sugar, use a half a cup less, a quarter cup less. Just try it. And I guarantee you that people are probably not going to even notice the difference. Especially if you're the one that brings like the cobbler once a year. They're not going to remember from year to year
Mhm.
that difference in there. So I would say experiment with it as much as you can.
And if
Mhm.
you're doing baking, a lot of times for the breads or the cakes, you can use like banana for like a zucchini bread or a banana bread. You can use banana. You can use apple, bake the apple, use it as a sweetener, and it actually adds moisture to them. Usually with breads or those kind of, I don't think I would do it with the German chocolate or the pound cake or whatever. But if you're doing some of those more seasonal breads, gingerbreads,
Uh-huh.
then apple. If you're doing zucchini or carrot, then you can maybe add a banana or pineapple for some moisture and texture and also sweetness.
Mhm. And remember, the goal is to not get kicked out of the family gathering, to be
Yeah, you
invited
don't
back
want that.
the next year.
Nobody wants that. And don't try it the first time on that night before Thanksgiving.
Oh,
True.
they are going to be mad.
Don't do that.
So
Don't
let's
do
not
that to yourself.
experiment on those people. Let's try it at home, see what you think. And then, like Randy said, make the traditional and then maybe bring an alternative. And you never know. Some of those people might be like, oh, this alternative is pretty good. I think you could bring this back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have a win, right? Because now not only do you like it, but your family likes it too. So now you can make that every year. So, a little experimenting is always good. All right. Well, guys, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm so glad we decided to do this. And I definitely want to do it again. So I don't know what you guys think, but I definitely want to do it again.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, oh, I'm sorry. Was somebody saying something? Did I
I
cut you
said, great.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, I want to thank everybody that's watching us at home. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you feel, a little bit more empowered during the holidays. But stay tuned for more from the Coaches Corner. We plan on having this run maybe every quarter with different coaches, different topics, and we are looking at you to help us, figure out what those topics may be. I put in the chat a link for our feedback, for any feedback. Um, if you have any additional questions, that you didn't ask in the chat, but you think about later, you'll have an opportunity to add that to the feedback form as well. And I will also be sending you guys a follow-up email with a recording of this video. And the link for the feedback will be there as well. But make sure you click on that in the chat now so you can open it up. Also, if you have not downloaded the BWHI app, now is the time to do it. In the app, you'll find more resources to get you through the holidays, such as tips about self-care, like healthier food swaps, and so much more. And these lovely ladies have agreed to send in some recipes that we can share, and we can highlight each of our coaches. If you have some in mind, you can post them on the app, because the app is for you as well. So you can post any of your challenges, your successes, healthy holiday makeovers, anything you want that's health related. So let's start supporting one another on this journey. Go get the app and let's be friends. All right. And because we have 1 minute left, I want to just go around the room and just ask you guys, what parting words do you want to leave, or wisdom do you want to leave with our viewers out there? Kisa, I'll start with you. If you don't have anything, we can pass it on.
Nothing beats a plan.
Mm-hmm. Love it. All right, Taxana, you're up.
That was mine. Plan it. I like that. I wrote that down. What gets scheduled gets done.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. All right, Randy, what's your magic word or phrase?
I was really sitting here trying to think of something, but I guess mine would just be and just to everybody, enjoy the holidays with your family. If you have one meal that may not necessarily be what you would typically eat, just don't let that become your new lifestyle. Remember what your current lifestyle is and resume that after. That's it.
Okay. And Laura, what do you have? What wisdom do you want to impart on people?
Always take a breath when things get a little crazy, is to center yourself.
Okay. Love it. Niambi.
Boundaries and intentions.
Yep.
Boundaries and intentions. Boundaries and intentions.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. I loved it. I enjoy you. Love you all. And I look forward to doing this again. Everybody, have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.